Hello, everyone, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is another episode of the dating show where we're going to be responding to a video from Jubilee. You guys remember Jubilee, right? They do these like social experiments, and they had this new one called the hot seat, which I'm not entirely sure I get yet, but essentially it allows people or a group of people, in this case I think it's mostly women, but some men, who are critical of pickup artists. And
one game.
What was that?
From what I saw, it was a gay man.
There were two.
Very, very feminine.
Yeah. There were two men. I think they were both gay, maybe, or one of them was just kind of a male feminist type. But yes, there was at least one gay man, which again, it's a little weird because he's giving opinions on PUAs, but I suppose it makes sense because, you know, they probably don't think that you would have to be someone who would be a part of their dating dynamic to have an opinion on it. But essentially, they have two PUAs. They come out, they sit in the hot seat, as they describe it. I will show you guys now. Oops, that was the wrong thing. There it goes. And once in the hot seat, the other people will watch some footage of them in action and then, like, you know, talk about it as it goes, and he has to listen to it, but he can't respond.
Yeah, tear them to pieces, basically.
Yeah, and then, like, after it's over, they do have a moment where, you know, there's an offer to confront or talk directly to a person face to face. And they either take it or they don't. So that's essentially the gist of this video. And now I think we should probably get into a little bit of it. So there's a PUA. Let me see. I'm gonna
while you're pulling that up, I will remind everybody that if you want to send us a message, please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. It really helps us out and make sure that we can continue to bring you this wonderful content. And you also get to send a message, sans any kind of censorship, except our good taste. Also, I apologize if you hear any cat and or banging noises in the background. I am not in my usual studio. I am in amongst the zoo at my house. So there may be some cat noises, there may be some human noises, there may be some doggo noises. So anyway, I apologize for that. And once again, send us a message at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And I just wanted to point out, or actually ask you a question, Brian. I don't know how many of these hot seats you've seen. Have you ever seen them put a woman in the hot seat?
I've never seen the hot seat, so I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll turn to the audience. Then.
We can, yeah. We can also, I guess, like, look it up and see.
Yeah, indeed. That seems like a pertinent question, because from what I remember, my casual understanding of the hot seat, I think you might have to put Jubilee in there, is that I don't think I've ever seen a woman in it.
I wouldn't be surprised. But
college applications judged in persons. I guess that would be women.
Okay.
But at least not in relation to, like,
relationships
or politics. Yeah.
It's like other stuff.
Could you imagine if Jubilee's the hot seat put a woman in there to answer for her requests in her profile? You know, like her online Tinder profile.
Yeah. I only I don't see it, but I don't want to, like, you know, make a definitive claim. But that they have done that with women in the hot seat. All right.
Let's throw it at the audience.
Yeah.
Have you guys? Do they grill women in the same way?
Are you asking the audience? No.
Yes, I'm asking the audience about the hot seat. Tell us more. All right, let's get into it.
If you happen to know, because you may not have even been interested in this series, and I think it's a pretty new thing too. So if you happen to know if they've ever done this with a woman, let us know in the comments or tag at Badger Livestreams in the live chat. It won't cost you anything, and I'll be on the lookout for it. So, all right. So anyway, let's get into this one. You guys got to see this first PUA guy. There's only 2 in this video, so. All right, this he, like a Native American warrior. That's what I thought.
Where my mind went was, remember the Fifth Element?
Yeah, sure. I remember the Fifth Element.
The evil guy. Remember how
yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that this guy is evil or a bad person. I'm just saying that he's definitely got some extreme hairstyling going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna get it. Like he looks weird, and I think he would agree that he looks weird, and I think that's part of what he's intending to do. He sort of looks like a actually punk, sort of a grunge punk. He's totally gonna get it because 100% these women are absolutely lookist. I guarantee it. Not having watched it, I'm guaranteeing he's gonna get it for his looks.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same. Also, he looks a little older.
Yeah.
And I figured he would get it for that. So, is he just a punk guy? Well, that's the reason why. On the one hand, when I saw this, I thought, sometimes I know that this was very popular years ago. I don't know if it still is, but PUAs like to, what do you call it? Where you do something to your fashion sense or your hair.
Peacocking.
Peacocking, right? I thought, it must be peacocking. That's I just went there. But then I thought, well, if this guy lives in California or something, and he's just kind of walking around on the street, I mean, that's probably not that abnormal to look like this. So I don't want to, and so I just basically said I'm not going to pass any judgment and just left it at that. Plus, again, go ahead.
Well, we know that the people here are going to pass judgment, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue. Plug.
All right, I'm going to play.
Yeah.
Attract and seduce more beautiful women. Learn how to approach beautiful girls with ease and drive them crazy with attraction. The art of seduction is critical to your success as a man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that she's gearing up. You can see her venom sacs undulating. Rearing up. That kind of thing, like something out of nature of things. But I know exactly what she's about to say. She's like, and the funny thing is that this is completely innocuous. I mean, I know in this day and age, we're supposed to read all kinds of rape culture, quote unquote, into this. But all he's saying is how to be interesting and intriguing to women. How to engage their interest. That's it. And you don't start, I don't know what she's probably thinking, but usually the pickup artists don't start with immediately thrusting into women. They usually start with trying to engage their intellectual interest and their emotional interest and that kind of stuff. It's very innocuous. And yet we've turned it into something. And like I said, I'm pretty sure, maybe not her, but I'm pretty sure one of these women is going to be spewing some venom very shortly. I have a sense, but I could be wrong. I'm always open to be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Let's continue.
Right now, already what I'm seeing is a lot of toxic masculinity. The idea that in order to have worth as a man, you have to have some sort of level of sexual.
What was that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. She brought it like immediately.
Yeah. She didn't even fluff him first. She didn't even like, I like your style. I think there are some women who might like your style. You could be cool in this context. I bet you were, no, she immediately goes to, I'm going to cut him off at the knees and saturate him with venom, with the toxic masculinity, just immediately on the vicious attack. It's like, your gender identity is wrong in every conceivable aspect. You deserve to be completely alienated from society. Like, that's so freaking funny. Like, what? Nobody called him out for doing this crap? I mean, all he's doing is saying how to be socially pleasant to women. And she's like, and I'm going to destroy your entire career or that. How dare you? Like, at what point do we just say, stop? Okay, stop. This is a crazy overreaction by her.
Yeah.
Like, she immediately attacks the very fundamental, like, where he gets his humanity from. That's what people get their sense of their worth, their self-worth, a good portion of their sense of their self-worth from their sexual identity or gender identity, or what do you want to call it? But from the part that they play in the process of creating little humans.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we had an understanding that brought us closer to the divine or to the liminal or to, you could look at the process of evolution or reproduction as being the liminal, sort of a stand-in for God. And the role we played in creation was the identity that we have, like a fundamental aspect of our identity. And it still is. Even to the people who think, oh, well, we're beyond gender. No, not. You still act out the most instinctual and psychologically primitive aspects of gender. And I'm watching you do it as you, like, she's judging him. That is the prototypical female role, is judgment of the male. Like, she's just sitting there judging him, and spitting venom on him. And that is her gender role as a woman. And she's playing it out. And he's playing out his gender role. They haven't gone further from anything. So we still take an identity from the role that we play in reproduction. And here she is shitting all over it. And this is for the dread, horrible thing, crime of wanting to figure out how to be a pleasant social experience for women. Ugh.
Yeah. Or just even if the cruelest, or maybe I don't even want to call it cruel. Maybe he's just trying to get their consent, but he is trying to get their consent, which means the consent is important. So
yes, and because of that, she's saying, "Oh, he's toxically masculine." He's saying part of your success as a man is being able to seduce women.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% true.
It is.
Lady, guess where you came from? I don't know if this might actually cause you to go into an existential meltdown, but you came from a man who successfully seduced a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I know that this might cause you some extreme distress to know, but that's where you came from. And that's where your grandmother came from, your great-grandmother, all the way back to the furry upright hominids. All of those males were successful at seducing a female.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 100% right. It is just an observation of reality. So you're here spitting venom at a man who's simply telling you, water's wet.
Yeah.
Who is the deluded, like, this woman was a man, she'd be an incel.
Yeah. I'm just,
and she wouldn't be like just one of the run of the mill average incels just dealing with anxiety and social anxiety and depression. She'd probably be on an FBI watch list. That's going to be my new go-to. Lady, is your behavior, if you were a man, would your behavior get you on an incel FBI watch list? I'm going to rate you incel FBI watch list 1 to 10. I think you're getting up there. You're getting to a 7.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull it back. All right.
I think it's really funny because you just mentioned, like that a man's had to have seduced or otherwise like gotten consent from her mother, otherwise she wouldn't exist. And then I thought about like, what if she had overheard this and it gave her nightmares, and they're all about like how her father, like when he was young, also had the same mohawk and he was doing really well. And it goes all the way back to like, cavemen. There's like guys with big crazy mohawks and they're like getting laid. And that's how her whole like father's line came. I just think it's funny. But
I was muted because I was pouring myself some tea.
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
laughing my ass off at that, Brian.
Yeah, that's just how, and they're all like looking directly into the camera and smiling because they know that this works. And she's like waking up in a cold sweat, like, oh no.
It's my time. It's my turn.
Oh man.
Oh,
and of course it's passing through all eras of history. So like there's a Victorian guy with a mohawk, with the same mohawk. It's the same mohawk. All right. What were you gonna say?
Oh God. I am. I'm gonna have to recover that one, Brian, because it got buried by the imagery that you were putting down. But no, no, it's gone. It'll come back to me.
All right.
It's gone right now.
We can. Yeah, we'll come back. I should check for. I got a super chat, and cool. I may have no Rumble rants yet. So
before you go into it again, feedthebadger.com/tip, and I will be quiet now.
All right. Yeah, and I should check that too. Super chows sneak past the radar all the time, and I hate it. So, but nothing yet. Okay, so I got a super chat from Duncan Alexander for 45 ZAR, and he says, "Is consent negotiated? If it is, then sex is transactional. If it isn't, then it's not consent." Well, yeah, exactly. And so this is the thing that I think is funny when you see feminists complain about pickup artists, because they never even bother to wrestle with this. Pickup artists, think whatever you want about them. Think that they're a bit cringe or they're douchey or whatever you want to think. But all they're trying to do is get consent from women. If women give them that consent, then there's nothing anyone can say about it. The worst thing he might do after that is ghost her, right? Like, she may never hear from him again for whatever reason. But even then, that's the risk you take when you give your consent, because if what you want is like a relationship, then a PUA should not be able to take you home. Like, not easily, because it should be somewhat clear or obvious that, he might just be looking for a good time. And if that's not what you want, then you have to make that clear. And like ultimately this is all about that. It's about like getting women to stop pussyfooting around if they want to live in a post-sexual revolution world, because that like coy shit it's not compatible with the modern age in terms of like what you're communicating. So you're going to have to be, you don't have to be assertive or aggressive, but you have to be clear. So okay, but anyway.
Actually, this is the first moment. This is the top one of the top 3 moments, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think I think that she has a little bit more to say, so I'm gonna play some.
Yeah, no. What would we call it? Would we call this 0 to 60. Like, the guy is like, yeah, I want to be women, pleasant social experiences. And she's like, you deserve to be ejected from the human race. Goodbye, sir.
Yeah.
0 to 60. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let us see if she says anything
conquest, and that drives from a very fragile ego.
You've been.
So she just told him that she just said that it's toxic masculinity, and that he only sees women as conquests, and that the desire to see them that way comes from his fragile ego. So she just basically like ripped him a new asshole.
Yeah, and his heart rate went up, eh?
Yeah, I don't know what this is. I guess it is. I think
it's the heart rate. Like,
yeah.
Oh, geez. You abuse a person, and they get agitated. I guess that must mean that she's hit the mark, or maybe she's an abusive bitch. And he's starting to feel stressed about being in the same room with. Is that possible?
I mean, if this heart monitor is his, then I would say yeah, and I don't see why it wouldn't be, because it's basically showing his reaction to their words. So
yeah. So what we see here is he is a human being. When someone is cruel to him, he gets stressed. Whoa! What an insight. Jesus.
Yeah. Right.
Gross. It's like, I mean, didn't they know going into this that this would be the horrific result of all of this?
I don't know. I who knows with Jubilee.
Okay. Well,
you've been.
I meant the pickup artist who went into it.
Yeah, I don't know if he knew what he was getting into. I mean, I guess he didn't. He must have, because he doesn't seem to mind.
Is he like Asian or something? Like, or part Asian, part Native?
I'm not sure. He has an accent though. So he's
or Mexican.
He might be. He might be.
Okay. Well, God knows that.
What was that?
Well, God knows that, as this woman is indicating, the Hispanics are not attractive or some crap, or they don't play with women. So no, I'm translating this woman's. It's very. What she's saying is very judgmental in response to stuff that, yes, there's some marketing spin on this. Men are going to respond to the way that he's phrased this stuff more than women will. But if you pull off the marketing spin, all he's basically saying is, hey, men, I'm going to tell you how to be intriguing and provide women a pleasant social experience so that maybe they'll be interested in escalating to some kind of intimate endeavor, either relationship or sex, right? That's it. It's very innocuous. And he's also making the completely inoffensive claim that being able to seduce women is part of your success as a man. Because get this, that woman wouldn't even be here if her father wasn't successful in seducing a woman. Like, literally, that is an essential component of success for a male animal. There's no way to get around it. Okay?
Yep.
We are on this earth to reproduce ourselves. I know we want to deny that, and certainly people who don't reproduce, like myself, and I believe Brian hasn't reproduced. I mean, I don't think we should be thrown into the Soylent Green vats as failures. But at the same time, as those instincts are there, and they're an aspect of our psychology. So she is being so vicious in response to neutral statements that she finds offensive to herself egotistically. Like, she's talking about him having a fragile ego. She's the kind of woman who would be like, get on an elevator and somebody's or going down, and she's like, how dare you say that I wanted to from you? Like, no, are you going up or down? That's her. She sounds like the type of person who lives to take offense. And that means, and in many cases, there is not a hell of a lot in terms of a sense of an effective presence in the world. Because people with hobbies, people with skills, people with an engaging career, people who have something to say even beyond their own taking offense, don't do this stuff.
Yep.
She defines herself in terms of judging others, specifically in terms of judging men. And she does so because I bet if you looked inside her, there's a whole hell of a lot of nothing. All right.
That's a great point. Okay. So I'm going to play some more.
You've been described as the king of makeouts. Is that true?
I love making out, you know?
Yeah, he's got like a Latin accent, so...
This is crazy.
Okay, wow. It's a lot of kissing.
Vince Kelvin, the king of
Jeez.
makeouts, hands down, over 230 makeouts last year.
Who's keeping track of makeouts and why?
Oh, that guy's just... Huh?
I love the male responses. He's like sort of a very
You mean the hype man?
I think that no, the guy we just saw who was sitting in the chair watching this guy making out.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bit weird, but at least for that's not my bag.
Yeah, it's just well, if he's a gay guy, you
Yeah,
sort of
it
understand
could
why
be.
he would be interested in it.
It's possible.
But the other thing is, it's just such a sour expression. If he's straight, he's definitely feeling a little jealous. And I also find it funny because the one girl that was sort of giggling, actually, those two girls were the social proof. The social proof charging score was going up for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that.
Absolutely. Like, if this guy is making out with tons of women, which the video and photographs kind of like, they do demonstrate that, then what does that mean? Nothing. It means that he's successful making out with women. Maybe they're drunk. Maybe they're, just kind of like at a party, going with the flow, whatever. But there's nothing untoward happening here, even if, and it's so, it's funny how prudish, feminists or women can become when there's like something going on that a man might be benefiting from. So it's funny how sex negative, and I know that they're not really sex positive to begin with anyway, but it's funny how sex negative they become when men are involved. And it's like they just can't stand the idea that if they create a landscape, or if they support a landscape where women can like get theirs and like, just like take what they want from men and satisfy themselves, or even whatever it is, right? But if men are like, oh, I kind of like the way this landscape looks, I think I want to play, and then they show up with their toys, and then feminists get all upset. And, it's obviously because they just don't want men to be happy. So
It does feel like that sometimes.
yeah.
But what's interesting to me is as soon as this is trotted out, you can see the social credit score going up with those women.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if that's his heartbeat, then his heartbeat is just generally that high.
Yeah, he just
probably
might be a high energy guy. I don't know.
Yeah, or like it's a little nerve-wracking to be on camera sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, probably. I mean, it's a new experience. He probably doesn't know how they're going to use this footage, so...
Like, I wonder if he has trouble feeling his emotions, and like he wants that high of making out with girls
What the
to
hell
feel
is
something
this?
in his heart.
He wants that high of making out with girls so that he can feel something. Just so that he can feel something in his heart. Or he likes to make out with girls.
I'm just thinking that's I think it's much simpler than that, my dear.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't she doesn't think that there's an inherent, like, women have an inherent sexual draw.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like his heart rate is just generally at that level. So
Yeah. All right.
All of those makeouts seem consensual, so there isn't much that I can say. If y'all both like it, y'all both do y'all thing.
Okay, hold it.
So that wasn't bad. So that black girl, she said, "Well, all of this looks consensual, so
none of my business."
yeah,
That's a good attitude to have.
if that's what you want to do, and everyone involved is want to be there, then have at.
Mm-hmm. Okay, are we on the second part or the second?
We're coming up on it, yeah.
Okay.
So this guy with the mohawk has the best bits in it, and I think it's a lot to do with the way people are reacting to him and everything, and so like that's why I'm more focused on the early part. So
the tall, blonde, good-looking, like muscular guy.
Yeah, the other guy.
I'm curious how they respond. Oh no, he's not. He's dark-haired. Is he? Or
yeah, no, he's a dark-haired guy. That's him right there.
Dark-haired. Yeah, I thought he was blonde for some reason. But yeah, he's I wonder if they have a different reaction to him, shall we say?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if he has trouble feeling his emotions, and like he wants that high of making out with girls to feel something in his heart.
All of those makeouts seem consensual.
Okay, look at how they edited that to make it seem like his heart was racing. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just a mild variation. He's probably thinking, what the fuck? What the hell? I like make out because I don't know why I have to defend.
Yeah.
I'm a mammal. Oh boy. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
And don't have the time to talk to some creep. There's heading somewhere. How about you just go to a place where people are open to talk to you in the first place? Most people that are walking on the sidewalk are heading somewhere to do something and don't have the time to talk to some creep. There's multiple ways to meet people, but on the sidewalk as somebody's heading to their job or meeting up with a friend, you're not going to get great results.
We can't.
So basically, I skipped the bit earlier, but he was taping himself approaching women on the street to try and like get their number or whatever for his, I assume his website or something. And in the clips that they used, the women were not receptive, but that
what? Then they moved on. Who cares?
Well, everyone did move on. Like they left, and then he let them go. But he tried, right? And this male feminist guy that was just talking. I mean, he's basically just telling him that he shouldn't talk to people on the street, and especially women. I mean, pretty much exclusively, don't talk to women in public. And this guy, who, like I said, he's probably not American. I mean, he may be an American citizen, but his accent suggests that he might live or be from another culture. And I know that in like Latino culture, it's actually not unusual to be approached by people on the street that want to talk to you. So.
And also, I know this. I'm pretty sure Italian culture is like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I think that Italian women, I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. If they don't get approached, they feel insulted.
Mm.
And so, like men will approach even older women. Not necessarily to have anything to end up or do anything, but just because it's almost like a way of showing respect. I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
But so that there's cultural differences here too.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know, Dare with the mohawk, you're just not WASP enough. You need to be more of a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. You need to embrace more of the appropriately woman-respecting cultures, which is Northern European and very white and blonde. And once you're there, then you will be being called. So work on that. Work on becoming a Protestant. Work on becoming more white. Work on becoming more Northern European in your attitudes, and work on becoming more blonde. And then you will be an attractive man. I'm being an asshole. But really, it does come down to that. It comes down to my culture and my cultural expectations of how men and women interact are the correct ones. And most often, that appears to be Northern European cultural expectations.
Yeah.
Just then, you look at the CEDAW map, that is the Committee for Equality Around the World, and we have basically defined morality in such a way that all of the whitest, most Eurocentric cultures on the planet are also the ones who are most moral. Funny how that falls out, you know?
Okay, Egregious Charles gives us $5 and says that, quote, he does this because he can't feel anything, end quote, is some movie villain type motivation.
Yeah, it's even worse.
It's this woman has a very simplistic view on what motivates men.
Simultaneously very simplistic and very overcomplicating. Like,
yeah.
I has she never made out? Has she ever kissed anyone? Does she not understand the inherent draw?
Yeah. Oh no,
this is like
I get it.
versus the reptilians. All right,
All right. So here's his response to that other guy.
Cannot meet people on the street anymore. What is that? Where are we going if we put restrictions to where you can meet people? Think about it.
You can go ahead and...
He's right. Like, I mean, he's being told by this male feminist that he can't meet people on the street because people on the street are going somewhere. And that means that you are in their way. And so... But of course, that guy was using this to say you're harassing women.
It's the Protestant work ethic there, Brian. You know, Protestants are just too busy working to have reproductive sex. And we just don't understand the appeal of kissing. Yeah. I'm not actually a Protestant. I'm a Catholic. So I can make fun of the Protestant.
All right. What was that?
Oh, let's go to the next one. Is this the third one or the second one?
No, I'm moving on.
Okay. So that was the second one, which is don't interrupt people on the street. Protestant dude is like, they're working, right? Don't interrupt people when they're working. It's rude or something. And then he's like, okay, but when we define where we can talk to people, that's, I think he's probably from a culture that's just more warm. And friendly, and these dudes are like, yeah, Protestant, and he's like, but I'm not a Protestant.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Then I go like, but rest assured, I won't bite you because I'm a vegetarian vampire.
Yeah, is that what he looks like without his crest?
Yeah, I guess this is like another. He's probably changed his look a bunch of times, right? And yeah. So he's basically demonstrating.
What I will do is this, but I'm not gonna do it.
I'm like disgusted. I'm like crawling.
Don't do that. Do not invade their personal space without their consent. Don't touch people with.
What?
What did he do?
He kissed her on the neck.
Okay, let me see that again. Okay, all right.
I'll go back a little bit. I'm disgusted.
Well, let's look at what she's doing.
Yeah, look
right,
at what
yeah.
she's doing.
Normally, when I do that routine, then I go like, but rest assured, I won't bite you because I'm a vegetarian vampire. The most I will do is this, but I'm not gonna do it.
Okay,
disgusting.
there's nothing to indicate that she's uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
She's okay. Look, dude, I'm sorry. Gay men do not have any basis to talk about what's sexually disgusting. If you open that door,
Isn't it
you're
weird?
not gonna like yeah, I know. You're not going to like what comes out of that door. So shut
Yeah.
up about that. The other thing is that there was no indication that she or appreciating what was happening. But there's some things that are going on here. If you say that people can't escalate physically, which is at most what he did, then you are completely denying human sexuality, because that's how people experience sexuality. They escalate physically. One of the partners escalates physically. The other partner is like, yeah, I'm into it. Whatever. Okay? Usually what happens is you escalate physically, the other person escalates physically. Am I wrong about that? You know? And then you just go back and forth.
Yeah. Well, so I think that the thing is that there's a presumption that this woman can't be comfortable because I know I'm not saying that makes any sense. I'm saying that we're all supposed to presume that if a man does something like that, right? And we don't know if they have history. We don't know if he was able to do more like earlier that day, and because he is making a video and he's having her help him with the video, and she seems kind of bubbly and happy to be there. So so like you don't really see anything dangerous, but I think that the fact that he appears to be crossing a boundary, which
he isn't.
No, I don't think he is, because she doesn't seem. She's not at all bothered by this. She's not trying to get away.
The thing is that the process of seduction is a process of pushing boundaries.
Yeah, well, that's how it has to be. It's the only.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me put it a different way. Like, with most people, you don't want them. You say hi, George, and George comes and attempts to. No, it's like you go, you push, you slowly move the boundaries. That's the process of seduction. And you get used to each other. It's the process of developing any sort of intimacy. And I don't see any problem with this, because first of all, when he did that, she was giggling.
Yeah.
And that's when somebody is enjoying you socially, that's when you go raising the stakes, when they're giving you positive social cues. And then the other thing is that he raises the stakes and immediately backs off.
Yeah.
Like, so there's nothing in this to be discussed by. What the hell do you do, dude? Like, do you just go up to a guy and you're like, okay, let's file our kinks, let's get our contracts out, check off all of our paperwork, like these individuals are so anti-human. It's bizarre.
Well,
Okay.
that's kind of what I was trying to say that this is contributing to, is like, because a man, even if all of the conditions are right, he still can't essentially make a move, even if it's relatively tame, without making everyone uncomfortable, because they think he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. And I think that our entire social climate has been changed in this way. Like, where men, if they want to talk to women, have to be extra cautious about what conditions and what's the environment look like, that kind of thing. How can I avoid being accused of rape, essentially? and that's why there's a lot of men that are like, yeah, this isn't worth it, because they are aware of the social stigma against men even attempting to woo women. And it doesn't matter if they cross, if they like use physical touch or anything. Like, that doesn't matter. The point is that if a woman is uncomfortable, which, by the way, our media and our education system and our politicians and everything spends like 23 out of 24 hours a day trying to make women afraid of men, and it works because most women are afraid of men, well, then there's no way for men to, like, you can't beat that. So, and I think that that's a big part of it too, is that women have been brainwashed into thinking that men are dangerous and that they're going to hurt them.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Now, I'm looking at this from a very different perspective, perhaps, than the average woman, because I've done martial arts, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is like a type of wrestling. And if you do it long enough, you can tell when somebody is moving into your space in a way that they intend to do something to you. And I've had that, like when I was younger, I had that experience with a guy, and not in the context of jiu-jitsu, but just outside of it. And I knew what it like. I could tell. Like I said, you can get a sense of when someone is attempting to enter your space in order to dominate it in a way that presages violence. Now, this was what the animal would call an interview. So he was interviewing me. Not verbal interview, but they call it a criminal interview. When somebody wants to do something bad to you, figures out whether or not you're a good mark. What they look for is this kind of submission to having your space invaded. And instead of submitting to it, I just looked at him and like, I know what you're doing. And he backed off. That's a completely different energy than what's like a rapist. Like, ladies need to understand, a rapist isn't going to do that, isn't going to escalate and create like an affectionate atmosphere, slowly escalate the sexual tension and the sexual interaction. They don't give a fuck about that. They want to know that if they do something physically violent to you, that you will submit to them. It's a completely different attitude. And making women afraid of what is doing makes them focus on things that aren't going to protect them. Like men who want to rape you want to get you in a position where you are physically vulnerable, and that is a completely different activity than what's happening here. If you conflate this with that, you're going to confuse the hell out of women, and you are going to make them less capable of recognizing when the other thing is happening. Recognizing boundary violations that are actually dangerous. Okay? Because he is not I mean, honestly, I don't even understand why they're going off on this guy. Because he's not even he's not even doing some of the stuff that guys who seduce women and they use more of like a dangerous approach. Like, I'm a danger, I'm exciting. I don't know what I'm going to do. He's not even doing that. Mm-hmm. He's doing a completely friendly, bubbly, kind of happy-go-lucky approach. As far as I can tell, he's making goofy, cheesy jokes. Yeah. He's getting laughing. He's escalating and then immediately backing off, like escalating very, like kissing her neck. I've seen mothers do that to their sons, for God's sake. Yeah, it's basically a peck. So yeah, it's a peck, and then he's backing off. He's not even looking at her, and he's like looking at him. It's like, what the hell are you people trying to pull with this nonsense? Mm-hmm. Women would be better off to look out for men who don't actually engage. They are not engaging them on a level of trying to get their consent socially and then move that up to sexually, but instead are interviewing them to see if they can get physical dominance over them without any flirtation. Like, that's the thing. The rapist isn't going to do this. Isn't going to make an easy joke. Isn't going to escalate in a cutesy way. They're going to see if they can get you in a place of physical submission. Completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right.
I got a super chat from Senior Sticks for $2, and he says, maybe the end of humanity is not the worst thing. All right.
I'm like crawling.
Don't do that. Do not invade their personal space without their consent.
What?
Touch people without their consent.
He was giving her consent.
What? Say
First
what?
of all, okay. That was consent, non-verbal consent. And not just that. If she had a problem with it, he immediately space, giving her the opportunity to say, hey, I'm not cool with it.
You're breaking up, Allison. I don't know why.
Oh, it's just my internet, because I'm plugged in hardline. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What I was saying is that this is bullshit, what she just said, that he didn't have her consent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is where we're at. This is bullshit. Well, first of all, again, the way that people usually experience sex is they escalate physically, and if somebody doesn't like it, they say no or they move out of the way. Like, usually the absolute no is they start getting dressed or pull away completely. Like, completely breaking the contact completely. That's how normal people do it. And in fact, this progressive, are you sure? Is this okay? What do you think about this? That is actually a high pressure sales technique to erode people's consent. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're constantly asking people questions, you're actually making them more willing to acquiesce to things that they would otherwise not. So if somebody leads in with a whole bunch, oh, is this okay? Is that okay? Is this okay? You're actually forcing somebody. You're creating a position where you're forcing somebody into something that they may not agree with. Whereas if you just do it and preserve that their willpower stores, they can say no.
Yeah.
So it's like the way that you're approaching it is actually more rapey. Like, to constantly ask a stream of questions is more rapey than simply doing it, backing off, and seeing if they liked it. And let me tell you, when he backed off, she was still watching him. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Well, she actually kind of leaned in to get a kiss on the neck.
Yeah.
So it was like she knew what was coming.
Or she knew what she was coming. And are you telling me that we can't use any nonverbal cues?
Right. Well, no, of course not. Because these people are, I don't know. They just don't believe in that stuff, I guess. You know? So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Making it seem like, oh, this is the way you can get girls if you like act like me, but she clearly looks like, obviously, like irritated. She looks uncomfortable.
No, she doesn't.
I feel bad for her, honestly, at this moment.
No, she doesn't.
Well, you can see that he's laughing because he remembers, and he's like, that's not at all what had happened. So no.
You're so full of shit. Don't like. And this is gaslighting. Yeah, let's go back and look. Is this the third point? So the first point was
this would be the third point, I think. But
my father seducing my mother was toxic masculinity. The second point was what was it? The second point was
it was about essentially it was the let me see. It's gotta go back.
The guy don't approach people in public and him saying, well, you're making rules about how you can approach people. And now the third one is you can't actually use nonverbal signals. Let's look at her again. Let's look at how she responded again.
All right.
I'm gonna expand everything so I can get a really close view of this. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not missing anything. Oh, come on, Discord, be a little bit more sensible. Okay, there we go. All right.
All right, I just needed to find this guy.
Here's something like
I'm getting my granny glasses
Normally,
on.
when I do that routine, then I go like, but rest assured, I won't bite you because I'm a vegetarian vampire. The most I will do is this, but I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah, she's leaning into it.
Yeah,
She's
she
so
kind of leaned into it, like, because she knew it was coming, and he had just done it again just before this to the same woman. So
yeah.
you know, people
Yeah, she
are like
probably
grossed
even
out.
got
And it's
prior
like,
consent.
yeah, probably. I mean, you know, most
So
likely.
what the, like if he is using her on stage to demonstrate something, he probably got prior consent. What the hell are we watching with these people? Like they think they're calling out some guy who's weird. These people are just, I don't want to say freaks. They're not freaks. They're just, what are they? What, like, why are you saying things that are obvious lies? Like, oh, I'm just crawling. So from what?
Yeah.
Like he has his assistant. No doubt he was like, oh, do you want her? Got his consent. Everything indicating, all of her body language indicates she's into it, or at least, you know, no, actually she's into it. She's leaning into the kiss. She's laughing. Like, and you're saying you're trying to gaslight us into saying that this woman who is giving every indication of consent and being the model for this is not consenting. You know why? Because you are ascetics. That's what you are. You hate sex. You hate sexuality. You hate male desire. I bet this gay dude probably sees his gayness as some kind of self-flagellation, as an expression of self-hatred. You know, I'm going to do some psychoanalyzing. All
right.
Because what I've noticed among gay men is there seems to be a subset of gay men who are using their sex to.
Wait, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh God damn.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my internet is shit. There is a subset of gay men who are using their sexuality to self-harm.
Yeah.
Out of a sense of self-hatred.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not actually sexual. It's like you know those monks from the Monty Python, is like whatever take Tom or whatever thump, and then you know the ascetics who would scourge their own skin with cat o' nine tails. That's what these guys are. Except they use the instrument of their self-abnegation is sex. The instrument of their self-hatred is sex, and their self-destruction is sex. They aren't actually motivated sexually. They're motivated through self-hatred. And I think that we might be seeing a specimen of this here. Because he's looking at this completely innocuous exchange between these two people, and he's considering the man's sexual desires to be disgusting.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Just because they exist, huh?
I think that you're actually onto something for real, though. About the gay men thing.
I'm not just being weird like usual.
No, I'm just saying, like, I've seen it, and I've seen it in gay men, and a pattern of that, mostly online. But yeah, I was wondering about that. When I saw it, and I was like, well, I don't want to generalize, but there does seem to be a sort of subpopulation, and it's not lesbians, it's gay men, who seem to think of their existence as evil or unclean or something, right? They have but they live as gay men, or at least like perform as gay men. They may not be having sex. They may not be dating anyone. But I think it's like they're living it out
It's a religious impulse.
Yeah, it's like they're living it out in service to, you know, yeah.
Or an aesthetic impulse of destroying the flesh or denying the flesh, which is, I know that sounds weird, but they see it as self-destructive. And the reason why I say this is because there's a component of the gay community that seeks things like getting infected by HIV, getting infected by monkeypox. You know, they seek this terrible self-destruction. And I think it's actually not a sexual urge. It's a religious urge towards asceticism and self-abnegation or the denial of the flesh. And I know it sounds really weird and self-contradictory.
It's true.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's true. I mean, like there's I don't remember what they call it, but like there are guys with AIDS that advertise essentially to, you know, be involved in orgies or sleep with other men specifically to give them AIDS.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, and these other men who are also apparently self-destructive or, you know, suicidal in a way, they will get it. They'll pay for that. They'll get involved with that, and they will try to get AIDS. So
it's a component of this idea that I put forward in a previous video of being homosexual and androphobic at the same time.
Yeah,
so,
it's that guy Miles Klee from the from Mel magazine. Yeah,
who insists that, you know, a young, handsome, muscular, virile gay man is absolutely not what he wants. You know, and it's like this is I think this is self-abnegation and this disgust towards male sexuality. Like, you know, they did the dime store psychoanalyzing, do it too. I think that particular woman who is just spitting mad about and saying, well, you want to give women pleasant social experiences. This is point number one. This is the top one moment. Okay, let me start again. I apologize, folks. My squirrelness is overwhelming me. Okay, the top one moment was when that woman started in on him for wanting to give, essentially, when you strip away the promotional speak that appeals to men, wanting to teach men to give women positive social experiences in order to increase the possibility of being intimate with them, and recognizing that male animals are successful when they are able to reproduce. Those are neutral statements. And in response to that, she vomits a whole bunch of venomous judgment on him and basically says, you need to leave the for those neutral, innocuous statements. And I'm like, well, that sounds like there's a whole lot of nothing in you, lady. And you think your entire self-worth is wrapped around the ability to judge men. And there's nothing else inside you. Maybe deal with that. And then the other guy who's like, well, don't approach the public. That's wrong. That's like, well, okay, Mr. Protestant, don't bother them while they're working. Let's not have any kind of social interaction outside of work. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That was the second moment. And now we're on the third moment where this gay guy is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
God damn. I mean, this is definitely a rogues gallery of people who have their own shit asses on display.
Okay. Yeah, and they don't appear to be people I'd like to be friends with. So
I'm like disgusted. I'm
I
like
don't think
crawling.
people are friends with themselves.
Yeah.
Do that. Do not invade their personal space without their consent. Don't touch people without their consent.
Like, he's making it seem like, oh, this is the way you can get girls if you like act like me, but she clearly looks like, obviously, like irritated. She looks uncomfortable.
No, she doesn't.
I feel bad for her,
Don't
honestly, at this
gaslight.
moment.
Don't gaslight. Okay, so this is the final moment?
No, I'm skipping this part But there is like a segment where there's video of him doing like leading, I guess, a cardio workout thing with a bunch of other men.
I like myself. Okay, so what's this?
Yeah.
No,
So it's kind of a. Okay,
you
want me to play this?
Positive, yeah, let's play this. It's positive affirmation. Okay.
Yeah.
What's she gonna say to that?
I'm sexy, because I'm sexy, because I'm sexy, and sexy women grab my sexy women grab my
It's just a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
Oh, I know. I don't think these people are offended by this.
He's like uplifting like his male community. I mean, that's basically it. I can't really say anything else. Like, it just seems so sleazy.
If they do that every morning, they feel confident. All power to them, to be honest.
He thinks it's sleazy. Yeah.
Really? It's cheesy. Are you going with that?
At worst, no. I'm not. I wouldn't participate in that. But cheesy, yes. I can get behind that.
All right. Could you imagine the female reverse? Like I like myself. To aerobicize and then slap their because all my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Like, who cares? It's just cheesy self-affirmation.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even. Who cares?
It doesn't even rate a concern.
I mean, like the milkshake song you just used as an example was like a massive #1 hit. Apparently, that wasn't a problem for anybody. So
no, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's like people need to be a little more calm about others, except for this. Like we can sort of. I don't know. The Asian girls seem to be less hyped, except for the one who's like, I think he's making out because his soul is empty. I'm like, no, I think he's making out because it's pleasurable.
The girl on the screen right now, actually.
No, it was the other girl, the other Asian girl. But they seem pretty sensible. The black girls seem pretty sensible. I can see why they're not showing them. It's like, you're too sensible.
Yeah, probably.
Does that one get approval from you?
I get approval. Minus the, that thing. But everything else, I respect it.
I guess it's cool that you're trying to help people. I think that is very nice and kind from the heart.
Will you be open to meeting Vince today face to face?
Oh, look at her. My Protestant.
Thank you.
No.
She said no. Yeah, let me. I want to hear how she said it though.
Open to meeting Vince today face to face?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh God.
Not really. I don't think we'd have a ton in common.
Of course, it's the hipster white dude, probably a male feminist type, and that girl. I don't know what you would call that, but just sort of a typical.
Okay, so the girl that loves to judge people
Not
because he has a heart the size of a raisin.
Like the Grinch.
Yeah, she's got a Grinch.
She is the Grinch.
Christmas special.
Yeah, she's a Grinch.
She's a Grinch. All right.
Really surprised. Surprise!
Surprise!
All right, so nothing really happens here. He basically just
I want to see how they react to him, though. Let's do a play.
Okay.
Hello, Vince. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise, you comfortable with touch?
Only the hands.
Only the hands.
Yeah.
I think we're in a day and age where you ask first. And the videos, it's out of context.
100%.
We got to know that it's out of context, meaning we don't see what happened
your
before
other videos,
or after.
Though.
You have?
I have, yes.
As far as some of the dating techniques, it's important to respect each other as people. And I feel like some of the things that you were doing maybe make people uncomfortable, especially as a woman. You don't know when,
What?
Like, women are getting... Being uncomfortable is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, literally, stop it. Because the thing is that every single freaking generation, no, not even less than 3-year turnover. There's a new standard for discomfort set, and it keeps getting higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
And you are basically opting out of your own life. That's what you're doing. You're not going to die if you're uncomfortable. I mean, learn what is genuinely dangerous, okay, and live your life.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't embrace this philosophy because I had like anxiety in public. And if I didn't actually overcome what made me uncomfortable, actually even worse than uncomfortable, it was making me feel like I was going to die, I would never have gone out in public. So every time I hear these women say, oh, I hear that anxiety speaking in me, you know, of restrict yourself, make yourself small, make your world smaller and smaller. You're not going to die from being uncomfortable, and you're not going to die from him making you.
Yeah. You gotta get out of the house at some point. You gotta go talk to people. I mean, you don't, but you're gonna regret that, I think, if you don't.
Yeah, and don't
make that a skill that you develop.
Like, here's the thing: women ask to be allowed out of the harem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being out of the harem is uncomfortable. What you're going to do is you're going to walk.
Yeah.
And you're going to walk the other woman right back in.
Yeah.
Like this words, I am uncomfortable. Where do you think, like genuinely, where do you think things like The Handmaid's Tale comes from? Like, you know, that's where it comes from. Where do you think cloistering women comes from? It comes from women constantly raising the bar of what they handle until the point where they're back in the harem.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. Okay. Nothing he did was indicating that he was a danger to
No. Senior Sticks gave us $2 and says, when are women not feeling uncomfortable? Well,
Yeah.
there are some women who don't have a problem with that, but again, most women have been gaslit.
If I deny this man, if that's going to be the man that tries to hurt me, you know? So
oh God, there's no way this guy is going to hurt you.
No,
There's nothing dangerous about him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm, that's...
How is it that feminist threat appraisal is so terrible? Like, I'm going to use this example again. Been long-term viewers of this will understand what I'm referencing. There was a YouTuber, you know what I'm talking about, Brian, who was a feminist, and he would come on and debate when the big thing to bring people on streams to debate, right? And I would debate him, and at some point I was like, this guy's a psycho. I don't want to talk anymore. And interestingly enough, Karen came to the same conclusion, completely separate, about this particular YouTuber, and I'm not going to name names. And she was like, yeah, this guy's a psycho. And like, we didn't talk about it, but we came to the same conclusion completely separately. And I remember there was a YouTuber, I think it was Skeptor, who contacted me and said, it was many years ago, contacted me and said, do you want to come on the stream with this YouTuber? And I'm like, no, it's a psycho. I don't want to be associated with him. I don't want him anywhere, even he's a psycho. You know, and a couple days later, I think actually the next day, he shoots one of his 2 girlfriends in a parking lot.
They were like his roommates and girlfriends.
Yeah, and he shoots one of them dead in a parking lot. Second, I think he's got first-degree murder for that. How is it that the feminist women he was living with didn't figure that out from living with him? All the feminist female fans he likely had didn't. And yet 2 men's rights activists separately came to the same conclusion about him. He is a damn psycho. Okay? You can pick this stuff up. And let me tell you, this guy isn't a psycho. There is nothing harmful about him.
Yeah.
And furthermore, whatever feminists are teaching women, they are not to figure out the actual behavior of psychos. All right.
Okay. So let's play a little more while he's talking to this girl.
It's easy to just tell a guy, hey, you're making me uncomfortable.
I lived in Vegas when I was younger, and I was actually approached by a pickup artist, and he tried to touch me as a 13-year-old.
I come from the place.
Okay, I'm just pausing it there.
How do you know he was a pickup artist?
Yeah, how do you know he was a pickup artist? But more than that, though, how do you know that he knew you were 13 years old? Because you're basically saying that guy was a pedophile, but you met him in Las Vegas when you were there as a girl or whatever. So what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the situation? Yeah. You can't just say, oh, I was in on the Las Vegas Strip, and how
did he touch her? How did he touch her?
Yeah, and how did he touch her? Exactly. Like, we don't, like, they leave a bunch of shit out, and then they want you to fill in the blanks. So I would just ignore that statement outright. I'd tell her too. I'd say, I can't speak to any of that because you're trying to convince me that a guy knew you were underage and tried to put his hands on you, and that somehow says something about PUAs. And no, unacceptable. Random men equals PUA. Yeah, exactly. But again, I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is something that really burns me up when people use their negative experiences to try to impute an entire class to a person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not the group's beliefs. Like I know about feminists, we call out the behavior of individuals. Okay, but not to use the behavior of individuals to say this is the entire group, unless there is something that they genuinely share, belief in patriarchy. In a belief in the ultimate victimhood of women. Anyway, let's. You're right. This is getting sort of boring and uncomfortable. I'm finding myself liking these women less and less as they progressively abuse him. So let's move on to. Or did anything interesting happen, Mr. Traditionally good-looking guy?
Oh, this guy? Not much really. He found himself like pretty agreeable with most of these women. They even ask him, like, because the most important. I think so, yeah. So
It's Chris on TikTok. The reason I think I give good dating advice is because I know what the toxic guy thinks, because I have been that guy.
What's your opinion on feminists?
Yeah, so he's kind of like the reformed, or at least that's how he's billing himself, as like the reformed douchebag guy.
I like to think I'm a feminist. I f with feminism.
Confidence, Chris. It's not what.
Yeah, so he even says that he thinks of himself as a feminist. That may mean nothing. I mean, I guess that these guys will say whatever, right, to get favor with women. So a guy trying to say, oh yeah, I'm a feminist, totally, man. I like women's rights. I think they're good. I think that's the kind of guy this guy is. Like, I don't think he's like read bell hooks or anything.
Yeah, I'm a feminist. I care about women.
Yeah, I totally care about women, bro.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Yes. Welcome to the human race.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, everybody does. Everybody cares about women. Everybody does. It is. That's why we always are like really surprised. Montreal massacre. It's this big thing. You know why? Because it's rare. This is one guy. And what's hilarious about all of this is that Canada will point to the behavior of one guy who killed 14 women which was horrible, yes, but it was one guy acting alone. And he says more about men than the men who got wounded trying to protect the women he was attacking. And also, if he hadn't killed himself, because you know what? He knew that he was going to be facing huge amounts of social hatred and opprobrium for what he did. He would be facing full wrath of society for what he did. So he offed himself. Okay? He offs himself. But if he hadn't, we can't judge men by all of the men who would put him in jail, all of the men who would keep him in jail, the men in jail who would probably have killed him after raping him. No, we can't judge them. There's men by all of the men who would have protected women from this guy or punished him for having hurt women or even murdered him for having hurt women. We can't judge men by all of those men. We judge men by the one guy who does something horrible to women. Not all of the men who protect and that's what we do. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No.
The reason why we commemorate this event, it's on December 6th, by the way. The reason why we commemorate this event is because it is rare. And it is the exception that proves the rule. We as a society want to protect and provide for women more than anything. And the one moment where we fail to do so, we obsess over it. We obsess over it. Like some obsessive compulsive Christian obsessing over their one lapse, their one sinful lapse. We just obsess over it. We go back over it, we go back over it, we go back over it, because it is the exact opposite of what we want. It's the exact opposite of what society aims for and strives for. Okay? So I like women. I want to protect and provide for them, says Confidence Chris. Welcome to the club. You are like every other man on the planet. Congratulations.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
And the only difference is that feminist men think man that does this.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to hear. Okay. You can schedule a phone call with him for an hour for $250. Okay.
All right, I know this one's gonna be bad because it's a podcast, and men and podcasts don't go well together, to be honest.
Men? Did she say men and podcasts do not go well together? I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I guess only women can do podcasts. By the way, is her name Meghan Markle? Her podcast sucks. Like, it's
no, I don't think
awful.
Meghan Markle.
It's not Meghan Markle, the woman who married Prince, whatever his name is. Stephen, I don't know. William? I don't know. I forget. I know it's not that. I know it's not that.
Markle married Stephen, everyone.
Prince Steve. Prince. It was okay.
I'm not going to correct you. I'm not going to correct you.
It's Prince Harry, but
No, it has to be Prince Steve now.
I think we're gonna need a Prince Steve. He'll probably be a better prince than Harry is.
Yeah.
So anyway,
where are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someday my Prince Steve will come. So anyway, as I was saying, Meghan Markle has a podcast and it is awful. I was thinking that we should respond to one of them. I don't know which one though. It doesn't matter most likely because they're all bad. Like, they're all about women and feminism and stuff, and and of course we're talking about a ultra privileged woman who basically is a princess who's got
she's a duchess or something. Anyway, I'll be right back.
But she's super rich. She's super powerful. She has powerful friends. So, and yet she could make a series of audio podcasts where she's the victim of everything. It's fucking wild. But not at all surprising because that's just the nature of the beast, right? So, you know, and I'm not one to. I don't like complaining about people based on their like class status, like if they have more money or if they're billionaires. I don't really care if people are billionaires. I don't really care if they're rich. All I care about is, are they decent? And Megan's not. She's really not decent. So like that's my main issue. Like, you know, the guy what's his name? Fried, I forget the full name, but you know, the guy from the crypto company that ripped everybody off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't care that he was rich. I care that he was a piece of shit. That was, you know, that lied and stole a bunch of money. So
Okay, Meghan Markle is the perfect archetype for modern day femininity. Because there is no win she cannot turn into a loss. No privilege that she cannot turn into victimhood. No advantage that she cannot turn into disadvantage. She can sit there and she can turn herself into the shadow of an absolute damsel in distress. So therefore, she was basically the penultimate woman in this society. I mean, did you notice that this is what women do in this society? They turn themselves into victims. Like the women on this show, what did they do? They just turned themselves into victims constantly. I'm uncomfortable. Well, too bad. You know, you're not going to die. Like, buck up, Buttercup. You know, and this is the gender role of women in our is that they should be in any position that they're in. They should be able to identify how they're a victim. Period. That's the gender role for women in our society. And men are supposed to continue to save them, even from existential things that they cannot possibly say. I'm just waiting for the pee pression. You know, like I had to pee and it was really bad. I was really uncomfortable, and men did this to me because and it's like. I'm just waiting for the woman who has so abdicated her agency, her personal agency, that she can't even take responsibility for going to the bathroom for herself and blames men for the discomfort that causes.
Yeah.
And then she gets like fatal bowel damage. Oh, the patriarchy. It's like, no, just gotten to the point where you are so good at abdicating responsibility for your situation and putting it on men that you have managed to make needing to go to the bathroom as a woman into patriarchal oppression. Congratulations, you are the ultimate female. All right. There's a little rant. Let's get back here.
I don't think unless you want to keep going.
Not really. I mean, I sense that this guy is not going to be as much fun, but he's going to get a lot more approval. They're going to say it's because he's saying the right things, but I think it's because he looks like he's tall, broad-shouldered, white, probably has a very Protestant mentality. You know, he understands that you don't interrupt people when they're doing work. That's like the most awful thing to do. When a person has a place to go and they're busy with their business, you don't interrupt them because work is the most important value in all human history. So fucking Protestant.
Well, I think that no, I mean, I think that he is generally more agreeable. I didn't think the other guy was disagreeable, just to be clear. But I think that they found him less offensive because I guess he looks normal. The other thing is that he was very agreeable. So if they would say, I think that we should live in a world where people are all tolerant and love each other and support each other, he would just be like, yeah. And then they'd be like, oh, okay. As though that would be a surprise. But, that's how they bring it up, though. It's like, well, PUAs are, I guess you guys think PUAs are normally against all of that? Like, it's like, how do you get there? How do you go, these guys are trying to pick up women, which means they want to divide the country. No. No.
It's like it is actually. It does get to the point where it's really freaking hilarious because you watch these individuals and they're like vigorously confirming the baseline morality of the average being. Like I was saying earlier, is like, I'm a man who wants to protect and provide for women. It's like, oh wow, aren't you special?
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're constantly confirming, I'm a human being and I really like bread. Okay. You know,
yeah.
Most humans like carbs.
And I think
most humans like to benefit women.
Yeah, and he's not that tall, this guy.
Oh, okay, but he's
actually
still broad shoulders.